I'm putting in the same amount of effort that they're doing. Just like this ponytail, everything is falling off. We have Alex and Tim breaking up. We have Nick and Hannah breaking up. I'm putting in the same amount of effort they did for casting for this show. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to another episode of Claire here. We are talking about episodes 10 and episodes 11. I thought about separating them, but I wanted to put all the trash together. We're going to be talking about what events took place to lead to Hannah and Nick's breakup. And then we're going to talk about Hannah and Nick's breakup is more episode 11. And then I have on here two for Alex and Tim breakup. That's for episode 10. So I'm going to start talking about episode 10 for the first 20 minutes. And then I will go on to let's start. First things first, let's go into Marissa and Ramsey. So basically recap for episode 10 is the fact that there is still this discussion of when do they want to have kids. So basically Ramsey's is saying that, oh my God, Marissa, you said you wanted, a certain amount of time, 3 to 5 years, and now it's sooner than that, which I think, like I said, this is a very good question to ask and answer because you only get to do marriage one time. So if you're not on the same timeline for kids, like you really want to make sure you're the same on that. They have an intimacy and compatibility. Basically, she was PMSing, and I don't know about y'all, but when Samantha is around time of the month, I don't want nobody touching me. Don't even breathe at me. Don't even watch my videos. I don't want no contact during that time. So I get that. The question got brought up that the frequency of the no intimacy. So basically, Ramsey kind of soft launched the fact that if he can't get his intimacy, there might be a problem, which means that he's not going to be a good candidate for if she ever has surgery or if she ever has postpartum. I have on here too, we never met Ramsey's mom. They keep talking about her, but we never met them. And then side note, they go to like a, it's kind of like a Great Gatsby theme party where she meets Bowden and she's like, oh, I feel like Bowden. She finally meets Bowden and Marissa meet together. And she's like, oh my God, like he's more like a friend type. And, I'm glad I made the right choice, which I still feel like her chemistry with Bowden, because she felt like because they're too similar, she wanted someone like Ramsey's. I feel like she got intimidated by Bowden because he would have been a little bit more aggressive. But the thing about it is that Bowden and Ramsey's are the same person in different fonts. But we'll move on to Tyler and Ashley. So basically he's clarifying that he's just a sperm donor. He had a same-sex couple that could not have a kid, couldn't afford a sperm donor. But my thing is, if they couldn't afford a sperm donor, did you do it for free? Like there was a little question that I was like, well, did you do it for free? Like that, like how, like that was kind of confusing to me. Because like, did you do it for free? How are they able to afford it if they can't? But anyways, he did it for free. He's a sperm donor. Like I said, everything is alleged. I'm not going to report on gossip. I mean, I'm reporting on the show. I'm not going to report on outside gossip unless it's confirmed by the cast, because I feel like that's just, I don't know, it's just like a journalist integrity clause there to me. But I did have on here, I know 2 Haitians in DC that can do away with him. Like, Ashley, I know you might be half Haitian, but to me, you full Haitian. I know two Haitians in DC that can get Tyler taken care of. You let me know, because everything that keeps coming up, all the conspiracies that keep coming up, it just keeps pointing to the fact that Tyler is not a good choice. He's a player. They say he's a Libra. Libras are known for lying. The L's for lie. And I get that, but it's not even that. It's the fact that he didn't even come in with that. That's something you say, hey, my name is Tyler. Also, I did donate sperm. Like, I did donate my essence to make another child. Like, I feel like that's something you would say. An admission of truth is still a lie, because if people sat there and said, oh, every time you drink water, you're actually infecting yourself with the flu, you'd be mad about that, wouldn't you? It's basically they're admitting what's really happening, but I feel like their chemistry is off as well. I feel like Ashley's into him, but there's that level of doubt there, and Tyler is just here for the ride. He's like, dang, I wonder how dumb can she be? Like, that's pretty much how I see Tyler, pretty much. I feel like he's like basically saying, how dumb can she be? How long could I pull this along? But Next character is Hannah and Nick. I have on here that not only is he a stay-at-home son, she is also unemployed. And I'm just like, do y'all both think it's a good time for either y'all to get married? But anyway, that's besides the point. Nick finally speaks up for himself, and he's basically saying, with you, Hannah, I feel dumb. I don't feel empowered. I feel like you just want to make fun of me, which is all true. And I'll say my overall review of everybody towards the end. But basically she basically in no short or further words basically says, until you give money, you can't speak, basically. Because she said, until you start contributing equally, you shouldn't be allowed to speak or something. I was just like, excuse me. So anyways, I have that on there. At the Great Gatsby party, because I'm going by couple, right? At the Great Gatsby party, basically they meet Kate. Kate was his number one in the pods after Hannah, which last time I checked, number one is number one. But anyways, they meet and she speaks life into him. She's like, oh, you've matured, you've done a changing. And Hannah is not liking this, because if it's one person she don't like, it's when somebody she don't like is being liked by somebody else. Okay. Also, she does something that I still to this day, I can't believe she did. She basically told Marissa that Nick does not eat cookies. And after Nick, if I go back to the episode, Nick literally says, when they're in Mexico, he says, hey, I do not want to, I have a brand that I have to upheld, and I do not want to talk about my intimacy endeavors. And for her to do that, I feel like she literally, that was diabolical. Like, he said he doesn't like that, and you still reported on it. Okay? All right. So the next couple is Garrett and Taylor, and then I'll talk about Alex and Tim towards the end. So Garrett and Taylor, like, basically, we finally, Mama Garrett is unsure about if she wants to come or not. And then basically what ends up happening is that right an hour before they go to the Great Gatsby party, Garrett tells Taylor that he only liked the message from his ex, basically acknowledging that it was there, but he didn't reply back. But then when he got around Tyler, he was just like, oh, well, I replied back to her and said that, oh, I don't want to give the bad image of the picture, is the fact that I'm with somebody right now. I can't talk to you like that anymore. And so basically, because Taylor got more details when Tyler was around, there's a lot of T's going around. She felt betrayed. She had flashbacks to like when her ex cheated. Like, there was just a lot going on. But basically now instead of being 200%, now she's like, I don't feel so sure, because, you could have just told me. And then on top of it, you sat on this all day. Like, he sent the message like around 10 o'clock. I think he replied back like around 10 o'clock in the morning or something. And basically, like, then he decided to reply back. He decided to basically involve her into the situation and like bring her back into it. But I don't know. I don't understand why the circumstances happen like that, but I'll say my review about how I feel about that later on in a little bit, 5 minutes. But I personally feel like I get where both sides are coming from, but when you're in a relationship, you have to understand that there's going to be people who are going to try to talk to you, and you have to have good maneuvering skills for that. Okay, so final, save the best for last. So we come in this conversation, and I feel like I'm out of the group chat. I'm like, what is going on? So we come into the conversation. They're sitting on the couch, and he's wearing his breakup hat. Now, before that, let's go back away. I'm getting ahead of myself. Basically, they finally, his parents come up, and Papa Tim looks very good for his age. They keep calling him Drake. I was so confused by that. They keep calling him Drake. And basically Tim is a junior, so the mom keeps calling him Drake, but basically he meets the parents, and they're just like, okay, she seems very polite, but with marriage is a lot of issues, this and other. So after that, this is 2 days after they met, Alexandra's parents, and asked for his name and whatever. So he comes in, he's wearing his white hat. I know whenever he's wearing that white hat, he mad. It's like a disguise. So basically he comes in wearing his white hat and he's like, you decided to take a nap. Apparently she took a nap during when, she did take a nap during when the parents drove up 10 hours. And while he just compared it saying, oh, you didn't do nothing like I did for your parents. And so basically he's just like, you have she said he has a temper tantrum and vice versa. He says she has a temper tantrum and basically just end up breaking up. And he says, oh, I don't want to ever see you again. And it's just something about the way he said it was just so, we don't know what happened. We don't know the edit, but something about it just scared me a little bit. It just felt very aggressive. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I don't want to speak to you or I just want to, I'm glad we can leave on this note. But something about the fact that, oh, I don't want to ever see you again. I was like, that gives me something happened behind the scenes we don't know about from both parties. We don't know, but that's pretty much the recap for episode 10. So I'm going to go through and review each couple for the next 5 minutes. First things first, Marissa and Ramses, I feel like they shouldn't get married. This is like my plight on why everybody shouldn't get married, but I feel like they should not get married because of the fact that there is not enough chemistry to last long term. Like, if he's that stuck on emotional, like, there's certain times where your partner might not be able to be intimate with you, and you have to have that mental connection, emotional connection to fill in for that time. Ramsey doesn't look like he's there yet. With the whole Planned Parenthood take on what he thinks a woman should be ingesting, and the fact that he's not, like, I feel like he's a fake feminist. I feel like he is not ready to get married again. Like, I really feel like it might just be where he's just not the marrying type. And that's perfectly fine. Not everybody's a marrying type, not everybody's a parent type. But I personally think that they shouldn't get married. Okay. Next couple, Tyler and Ashley. No. That's the end of the minute, right? That's it. That's the end of it. No. He lied about having 3 kids. If he can lie about having 3 kids, he can lie about anything. There's too much out there that's showing that he could possibly really have these kids. Also, I feel like Ashley wants this to work so badly that she's ignoring her intuition. Like, she literally just shut her intuition up and said, shh. Like, there's been times where I can just kind of tell that she is not in this, Like, I can just sense it, like, she's not in it, but she's trying just for the fact of trying, Like, it doesn't feel like she wants this as much as she's putting off. Like, she's saying that, oh, this is okay, this is, I got past it and this other, but I don't feel like she got past it. And like with women, like, no offense, but when it comes to kids, like, you can't, like, kids outrank a wife anytime. Outside kids outrank a wife anytime. So there's always gonna be that issue. The next couple is Hannah and Nick. I thought this was pretty obvious that they shouldn't get married. Like, she's obsessed with ducks. I don't know why. But I personally feel like they shouldn't get married because there's just something there that's so scary to me about the fact that she keeps denigrating his character. She keeps looking down on him. And, like, that's okay short term, but long term, there's going to be a day when he snaps. And I really hope that there's going to be a day when she snaps. And I really hope that it doesn't get to the point where it gets physical. But when you sit there and keep emasculating a man, not saying this is an excuse, but when you sit there and keep emasculating a man, there's going to be a day when he snaps. I mean, it's the same thing like when you keep talking down on women. Like, you seen the show Snap, like, there's going to be a day, and she just keeps, like, the way she, like, some of the conversations, it's a gnat over here. Some of the conversations are so uncomfortable. At one point, I had to pause it and just take a breath because, like, I just don't like when people talk to other people like that. Okay. Yeah, sorry, that book was bothering me. Anyways, but I can say the fact that, like, it's half the fact that she overreacted, but I feel like it's also half the fact that, like, he sat on it all day, knowing that she has those trust issues. But, like, I really hope that she's not having him carry a cross that he didn't do anything wrong with. Like, there's something tricky about when you're somebody's past hurt, but you're trying not to make the next person pay for it. Because to me, like, if I was dating a guy and we just started dating and he was still in contact with his ex, I wouldn't see it as a red flag because, like I said, like, a lot of men and women have this tendency that once they start dating a person, they feel like they never talked to a person ever in life. They never talked to this person before. Like, this person's just been on a little island waiting for them. I was like, there's a level of ego-ness there. But I do feel like I don't want her to give up her person because of one bump. Like, trust me, like once you, that's at least yours. Final one is Alex and Tim. It's really scary to see him flip like that, you know, because he's always been like, you know, of course, you know, he come with his sad stories left and right. Not trying to, you know, not trying to deviate from its importance, but, you know, it was a lot of trauma dumping, you know, but I can say that I would like to have heard both sides, because like I said, it's an edit. We don't know anything. Because me, I'm on Tim's side. If she's been throwing temper tantrums, she took a nap, like, no offense, but they drove 10 hours. She said, oh, I just get really tired. You know, there's chance that she could possibly depressed. You know, her apartment looks a mess, and like she's really tired. Like when you're depressed, you sleep more. But you sleep more often. I'm not saying if you did 10 hours, you're depressed. No, you're lucky. But I definitely am glad that they broke it up before they hit the marriage stage. So I'm happy. Episode 11. Hannah is here to exact revenge for Nick not looking like she wanted him to look. Like, from the first moment, I could just tell that it's been a revenge plot. Like, it's been a revenge plot. It has been a revenge plot. Like, for it to get this far, it has been a revenge plot. Like, I don't see what else it could be, because the way she talks to him is just crazy. I have on here, like, when, like, she literally said, she basically made a mountain out of a molehill as per usual. Before it was Duck Dynasty, now we're talking about Katie. So when she was like, oh, when you're my best friend and my fiance, my best friend and my fiance are talking to each other, and they're smiling and being happy, how do you think that makes you feel? And she's like, she's like, how dare you do that? I raised you from a boy to a man. I'm just like, Nick has so much reservation, because if a man ever sat there and said, I traded you from a girl to a woman, we would have been at arms. Anyways, I have on here that basically he meets their friends, which I call them the enable circle. Not one ring between them. Not one ring between them. But anyways, they're basically saying how, like, oh, well, she's not asking you for a lot. You're doing too much. And like, Hannah just has a bunch of enablers, which, like, after meeting her friends, I was like, I see why you're the way you are. Because my friends, they hold me accountable. Anytime I'm messy, they be like, Claire, you know, that wasn't the best look. Like, how come I have the accountable friends? Like, everybody else get to have messy friends like Hannah and get to say and do whatever they want. But basically, she was saying how they call her Icky Nicky. She was saying, oh, he gave me the ick, so she gave me the Icky Nicky. And basically, she's a truth teller. And my thing about is that it didn't feel like a meet and greet. It felt like he was on trial. And then it comes to find out that later on that they didn't like him at all. And I was just like, I mean, it's like he was hyping him up. And so it's the day of trying the wedding dress versus costume, like trying them on. And basically, they didn't go, and it shows the conversation that happened between them is basically like they're breaking up. And she's like, oh, I feel like she has like a notebook of stuff that she hates about him. And she has a notebook of stuff that she hates about him. And basically, he's just like, I feel like I wasn't good enough for you, and I feel like I could have did more. And I was just like, Nick, stand up. Like, stand up. This woman hates you. From the moment she saw how you weren't who you said you were, Henry Cavill, from the moment she saw that, she's been on a revenge plot. She's like, I'm gonna stretch this out as far as I can. That's what she'll sprinkle in a I love you here and there. And I'm just like, I don't believe it. I don't believe you. Like, when you love somebody, let me tell you one little thing before I go into the next couple. When someone loves you, they do not make you feel, when someone loves you, they do not make you feel bad about yourself. I want you to know that, okay? So the next couple we have is Garrett and Taylor. Basically, she was basically saying how, like, they're in California now, and he gets to meet her family, and her dad does not want to be on camera. That's why y'all do not see him. Basically, they're in California now, and she's basically saying how, she was crying. She cried a lot for a couple of hours. And I'm just like, I must be a robot, because you got about, I think the longest I ever cried for was like 10 minutes. And I was like, I'm going to take a nap now. Like, some people can cry for hours. Like, my tear ducts are broken. Maybe they're broken, because I cannot cry for hours on end like that. But anyways, she was crying for back-to-back hours. And basically she was just saying how, like, oh, oh, I felt like, you know, like he did, like he was just a betrayal. I'm not at 200% now. And I was just like, Mama, you looking for something? He's so perfect, it scares you. Okay? Don't ruin a good thing because of that. Mama Taylor, we finally meet Mama Taylor, which she's so cute. She basically says how she talked her dad into, Taylor's father into still coming to the wedding because he still wasn't sure about it. She's like, no, sometimes you gotta trust the feeling of how you feel about people. And they had like a cute little date in a museum, which I thought was pretty dope. The sushi looked really good. The sushi looked really good. Like I'm tired of watching these shows like with Hannah's enabler friends. Hannah from Earth 2 and Adriana met with Nick and they did not eat the food. I was like, yeah, I ain't gonna eat it. I would have smashed that whole plate. So it was really nice to see them eat the sushi and the food that was in front of them. That was really nice to see. But I think personally, I wish we would have saw more of the friends and family, but you know, it is what it is. But that's what they decided to show us. And then I have on here, she needs to do inner work. I feel like she's still punishing him, but we'll get into that more. Next couple, Ashley and Taylor. Basically, they're at the racetrack, and she's like, yeah, the initial shock of it wore off, and now, you know, I'm ready, or blah, blah. So they go skydiving, which to me, you guys are paying for fear. Like, if you want to have fear, drive in Tampa. You want to drive in Tampa on a pothole road. That's real fear, okay? You don't got to go into the sky, but anyways, that was always Ashley's dream of like skydiving before she gets married because she figures 2 weeks before you get married, skydive, like that's amazing and da-da-da. But child, I guess. So after that, they're sitting and there's like a romantic dinner, which I'm just like, is Netflix paying for this? Like, who pays for these dates? Because I would be like, oh my God, I want to go for a date in Milan, Italy. Milan, Italy, that's how I'd go. But anyways, this one mosquito is just torturing me. I have no idea. But basically what ends up happening, they're talking about kids, and she was just saying how, like, you know, having kids is very stressful on the mom, you know. She said all you have to do is, she did a Freudian, so she said all you have to do is donate your essence. It was like, hey, he got, you know how to say he got real quiet and silent. If you watch that again, he got real quiet. He got really quiet. Like, he got a mean mug, whole demeanor change. He was really mad about that. I'm just like, you know, if you weren't guilty about that, you wouldn't be mad about it, okay? At the end of the day, it was a joke. It was her trying to make light of a situation that you lied about. You lied about it. I have on here that they shouldn't get married. They shouldn't get married. They shouldn't. Like, there's nothing that's telling me that they should get married. But anyway, so she tries on her dress, which I think we need to, just a side tangent, we need to start making wedding dresses that match the skin tone. I don't care if you have to dye it, cry it, dry it. It's 2024. You should not be putting cream colored on a brown skin. Thank you. So the next couple, the only couple left, Mawisa and Wamsi's. I feel like, one per yelling. I feel like Marissa and Ramses. So basically, they're in a hot tub on a boat, which to me is the richest thing I've ever seen. Who's paying for this? They're in a hot tub on a boat, and they're just talking about like, you know, marriage and like, you know, longevity of marriage. Basically, Marisa says, oh, I could be 70 years miserable and I can deal with that. And Ramsey's like, ooh, I don't know if I can deal with being miserable for that amount of time, or da-da-da, which, like I said, Marissa's delivery is trash, but I get what she's trying to say. Marissa is basically trying to say that I can understand certain years are not going to be lit years, you know, like it's marriage, it is a marathon. So I feel like she was kind of like, okay, well, you know, certain years are not going to be top tier. So let me just, I want to say deal with it, but like, just like go through those years. And Ramsey was very adamant, which scares me because with her saying he has cancer, Leo, I don't know. It really tells me that Leo side is leaving, because with Leo's, like, I'm a Leo. Oh my God. I don't even know. But when it's not fun anymore, we dip, and we dip expeditiously. So she might want to keep an eye out for that. But anyway, so the end of the scene ends with he wakes up with no bonnet on, because I know the curls are array. And so she comes out, and I can tell she's been breaking out on her face. And I'm just like, this man is stressing you. Your body's telling you he's trash. But anyway, so basically they start for the next 3 minutes saying nothing. Like they literally, like I literally wrote in the notes, they're saying nothing. Like they never get to the point. He just said, there's, with living with you, with all this, I have my nerves and I don't know. I was like, about what? Child, that's how I know I'm in my 30s, because of the fact that if you don't get to the point, I will get gone. Like, I am tired of them not getting to the point. Like, they literally were just like, and then I was like, but what are you saying? Like, we don't know what you want. Like, you're not saying anything. Like, they kind of just allude that there's an issue, and I'm just like, what is wrong? Like, you're not really getting to the point. Basically just have a long conversation, waste of film. I was like, I was like, first of all, they just have a waste of film there. I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, we're talking in circles. We're talking in circles and we're not really saying anything. Like, we're not saying anything. We're not getting to any point. Like, it just felt like they were just trying to get the word count on the episode. They're like, okay. Because I think the episode like an hour and 13 minutes. You could have cut that off at an hour and just cut their part, but I digress. So my final point for episode 11 is back to who should get married and who shouldn't. All right, I'm going to go in order with Nick and Hannah. I'm glad they broke it off, but I feel like this whole thing was an elaborate punishment. Like, I feel like it's kind of similar to what Tim and Alex, like Tim was done ever since she called him out his government name and held his mouth in Mexico. A piece of Timothy is still back there. Same thing with Hannah. I feel like when Hannah saw him in California, that's where the pods are at. As soon as he opened the door and he showed up and he wasn't Henry Cavill, Hannah was like, I'm going to punish, and I will punish you on my Sailor Moon. Like, I really feel like she was on her, I'm going to punish you, because you didn't like this man. I promise you, if it was somebody that she was actually attracted to and actually respected, she would not be coming out her neck speaking to a person like that, because she actually is attracted to this person. She doesn't want to lose them. She doesn't care if she loses Nick. She literally broke up with him right before the wedding as a revenge plot. Okay, next couple, Garrett and Taylor. The only side note, Garrett and Taylor are the only couple I think should get married, but proceed with caution. I'm afraid that Taylor is going to let old trust issues ruin stuff, and Garrett is going to be too afraid to lose her to deal with it. Because like I said, like, she has all her family in California, and I'm just like, he's like, I don't want to lose this person, I want to move. I was like, listen, moving is big. Moving is big. Like, I still remember when I moved from Miami to Tampa, like, it was a shell shock. I feel like I moved to another planet. Like, it's scary. And that was just for college. Imagine moving for a person. At least for college, I can sit there and say, screw you, USF. I can at least say that. But, like, this is for a person. So if this doesn't work out, you move all the way out to California. California, am I mirrored? California and DC. They're literally East-West Coast. Like, they're two different things. Like, are you willing to change? And they're 3 hours behind. You feel like in a time portal. I don't know, but I think they're the only people who should get married, but proceed with caution. Ashley and Taylor, once again, I know Haitians. In DC, seulement, like, just call me, girl. Like, we got you. Like, something about Tyler needs to just go. Like, I'm not saying we're going to finish him off, but he just needs to, you need to not be allowed to be around women ever again. You should not be allowed to talk to anybody ever again. Deal with it. Pay your child support. Like I said, this is alleged. Deal with your own stuff and stop dating women. Leave that whole leave the double X chromosome alone. All right. There's some people where I've just seen their behavior. I'm just like, you see how he tried to use religion? You see how he tried to use religion to manipulate her and say, oh, we should pray together. Not one time in that prayer did he say, hey, dear Lord, give me the strength to tell her the truth. Not one time he said that. So that's why I said, also, ladies, be careful with that men will sit there and try to use religion to manipulate. Final couple, Marissa and Ramses. I hate seeing when people try to fight what they already know. Like, off rip, you shouldn't be with him. You do. Off rip, and vice versa. He knows he's not ready to get married again, because he kept saying that, I know that I don't want to get married again after this is it. I was just like, but you don't know if that's it. Like, to me, if I could be frank from watching my peers, okay, 9 times out of 10, if you marry twice, you'll marry again. But if you marry once, you will be done. Does that make any sense? Like, basically, like, if you're already willing to erase your mistake one time, you'll erase it again. Because most of the time, when I see somebody have a second marriage, I know a third and a fourth one will come, because you're not really pressed about finding your person. You're pressed about finding perfection at that point. Okay. And your pickers off as well. That's what I think. But I'm just from watching people my age and people older than me that I know, like, from what I've seen, is just that most of the time they'll be like, oh, this is my third or fourth marriage. I was like, I figured, because you got married the second time. Okay. So he's got to see what that looks like to be married again. But personally, intimacy-wise, I feel like Ramsey's a child and he's a fake feminist, faux feminist. And I feel like Marissa should just be an amazing attorney and then just do that. Like, just do that, because I feel like her mom's issues will filter down. Not saying that she's unsavable, but that's my opinion. So don't forget to subscribe, share.